Hey, hello, welcome to the show. It is me, John Park, and I think this is the first John Park's Workshop of 2026. So thank you for joining me. Thanks for hopping along for the ride. What's going on here today? I've got the show. The show is back. I've got a coupon code for you to save some money in the shop. I have a recap of the product pick of the week. I have a new CircuitPython Parsec for you. I've got a Learn Guide recap. I have other stuff. I have something to show you over there. A couple things to show you over there. I think I see the Claw of Lars right there, but he's not going to be involved, is he? I know that they say you're not supposed to say Happy New Year after the 7th, but this sign didn't get the message, so it's still saying that. I have something I'm going to show you here. That's part of the CircuitPython Parsec. Wow, all kinds of good stuff. I hope everyone had a good break if you had some time off, and I'm excited to get into some new stuff for the new year. So let's do this. First off, the chats. Hello to everyone over in our YouTube chat, to Beata Graf of Delhagen, Johnny Bergdahl, Paul Curry, hello. And then we have our Discord chat over here. So if you are in a place with seemingly no chat, like Twitch or something like that, head on over to our Discord. It's at adafruit.it/Discord, and you can look for that live broadcast chat channel right there. I'll never get the hang of that. We have a lot of other channels too you can go check out at other times, but during the live streams, that tends to be where people are hanging out. And hello to Paul Cutler first. Andy Calloway, hello. Thin Man, howdy. Winter is back, baby. John Nodge, Jim Hendrickson, Johnny Bergdahl, hello. I remember to turn on my mic. It's a brand new year. And not only did I turn on the mic, but I picked it in the broadcast software, and I unclicked the mute button on the mixer. I have so many points of potential failure there, but they all worked. I'm mic'd. You can hear me. Yay. Knock wood. All that stays good. Hello, It Should Just Work, TM. You finally made one of these. Well, welcome. Thank you. Hi, Toddbot. Howdy. So, first off, do you want to go to the Adafruit shop and get some neat stuff and save some money while doing it? Well, that right there is your coupon code for today. It is AstroChart, and that will save you 10% off in the Adafruit shop. Just head on over there, and as you're checking out, go ahead and find that coupon code slot and paste that in there, or type that in there. You can't really copy paste without some OCR getting involved. Andy Calloway said, getting monitor envy. I have that monitor thing I set up for the Adabox. I also have these little guys here. I don't have anything hooked up to them, but these were part of that motion control head cart that I scavenged parts from my buddy Peter. So lots of monitors, and hopefully we'll be doing neat stuff with them this year. By the way, people wondering about this. A couple people asked me about this. I don't know if I ever talked in depth about it, but that's running on an Extron 8-in, 8-out HDMI switcher, 1080p, the sort of lower resolution one. You can get these pretty cheap on eBay, anywhere from as low as, I think I got mine for $80, sometimes maybe even lower. If you're not going for 4K, 8x8, you get 8x8 inputs. You can reroute with buttons on the front, save presets, reroute with a serial interface and an Ethernet interface. It is actually very similar to this one over here, which is for analog RGB video. So this one's a little bigger just because of the nature of it, but that's in 8 ins and 8 outs on an RGB sync or composite or component or S-video. But that's what I was using there. Right now I just have it sending the same signal to all of them, but that can be mixed and matched. And you'll notice the middle one never changes because that's just connected to a little Raspberry Pi. In fact, let me bring up the interface because I'm enamored of this thing. Let's see, where did I put the interface? I may have closed it. Hold on. Show all windows. Is that it? No, I don't know where I put the thing. Anyway, I'll leave it alone. But yeah, since this is 8x8 and not 8x9 or 9x9, middle one I just have a Raspberry Pi connected to, and then the other ones right now are screen 2 of that Raspberry Pi. But those can be changed to all those inputs that I used for the different fruit jams that were used on the Adabox unboxing. So anyway, that right there, that's your coupon code. I got distracted there. AstroChart, use that to save 10%. In the shop, this is the shop. Just go to adafruit.com. That's it. You're in the store. You don't have to leave your house. And we have a few things we consider new products here. Actually, this one was interesting. It fooled me at first. This is a 2.5 millimeter TRRS jack, which you used to find these in like headsets on phones, like cordless phones in your house. Some of the early mobile phones had these. So this is smaller than your usual sort of TRS stereo 1/8 inch jack. This is the 2.5, real skinny one. But if you have something that you can break that out to and do interesting things with, we have both the plug and the jack version of that now. I was actually just revisiting some stuff using the 3.5 millimeter version of that, and if you click on one of these, they're actually all bundled up in one place. 3.5 millimeter ones, these are kind of interesting because that gives you 4 channels, so you can wire up stuff and just use that. Like even I2C, you could use that to wire stuff up if you want to use those types of cables, which are pretty convenient. I was taking a look at the old Xbox adaptive controller, which you'll see back there on a pegboard. And the analog inputs use that for the joysticks, for like thumbstick left and right. All right, what else? The Andy Calloway says my workshop is taking on max headroom vibes. I gotta get a feed from this computer over there so we can do that. I like that idea. That's the shop. Go check it out and use that coupon code in there. The next thing I'll mention is this show that happens on Tuesdays. So I had this show on Tuesday. It's the Product Pick of the Week show. Here's a little recap. It is the ENS 161 metal oxide gas sensor with Stemma QT I2C. I've got a Feather RP2040 here, plugged into Stemma QT to a little OLED screen, and then Stemma QT continuing on the I2C Fun to my sensor, which I'll plug in here. I'm reporting air quality of 1, total volatile organic compounds 36, quite low, and the effective CO2 457 or so. Isopropyl alcohol test. So let me take Q-tip there in rubbing alcohol. And then as I hold this near the sensor, it has jumped up into the tens of thousands range. So you can tell, yep, that's real stinky. My product pick of the week this week, it is the ENS 161 metal oxide gas sensor with Stemma QT. Yes, right, that's it. That's the one. So Todd raised a question over in the chat. What is the connector with the greatest difference in size between one size and another? Because this one, yeah, this is a pretty significant difference. I did see a joking meme image of an HDMI to milk adapter cable the other day. It was HDMI on one side and a gallon carton of milk on the other. So dumb, but it made me laugh. That's got a pretty big difference. Okay, what's next? Hey, let's do a CircuitPython Parsec. CircuitPython Parsec. Okay, for the CircuitPython Parsec today, I wanted to show you how to use a Circuit Playground Bluefruit as a remote shutter for your iPhone or other mobile camera. So you've probably seen selfie sticks that have a little button on them that allows you to take a picture just by connecting up the two devices over Bluetooth. And someone asked me about this recently. Have we ever done a project like that? We've done some other iOS Bluetooth HID projects, and not that specifically. Well, that's what this turns out to be. So you're able to set up a Bluetooth device as a BLE HID keyboard, and the volume up and volume down keys on any BLE keyboard, when connected to something like an iPhone, will trigger the shutter when you're in the camera app. So first of all, let's do a demo. I'm going to go to how about let's go to this view, and I'll set this down here, and I'm going to take my iPhone and I'm going to put it into Bluetooth connection mode. You'll see at the top here, CircuitPy AC9C. That's the sort of default name that I got. So I'm connected to that. I did this earlier. But it's very straightforward. And now I'm going to set the camera over here, and we can flip this around so that we can see it. And I'll just set it on a little tripod here. I'm going to turn on... Whoa, I'm taking pictures. I was hitting the volume button there. So there you can see, hey, look, there's my light and a mess. So with this connected, I'm now able to trigger that. So you can see if I go and bring the camera there, there's the photo we just took using the remote shutter. So this is really convenient for that sort of scenario where you want to set a tripod on a camera on a tripod, maybe take a photo of a group of people, that sort of thing. This is perfect for that. Also, any case where you want to set the camera and not have it move, you don't want to touch it, but you want to take a photo, maybe you're doing stop motion, that sort of thing, can be really convenient. You used to be able to do this with the headphones that came with iPhones when they had a regular headphone connector. That sort of has gone away. I think you can still do it with earbuds, but this is a much cheaper solution. It's $24 Circuit Playground Bluefruit versus $200 AirPods or whatever they cost nowadays. So let's take a look at how this works in code. I am importing the HID consumer control and consumer control code, as well as Adafruit BLE, so that I can advertise this as a device, and the BLE HID service so that we can send keystrokes. Then I set up the BLE radio and the HID service, and set up the HID advertisement so it shows up as an HID device to a BLE capable device. Setting up the button A, which is the right button here on the Circuit Playground, as a button with pull down switch to input. Set up consumer control as CC, and that's what lets you do any of the keyboard things that are like play, pause, volume up, volume down, a couple others, stop. So then we have a couple of things going on in the main loop. If we're not connected, then we advertise, BLE start advertising advertisement. and then we wait for a connection. If we are connected, then we can watch for that A button to get pressed, for that value to go true. And when that does happen, we do the consumer control cc.send consumer control code volume increment. So we could use this as a typewriter to send a macro or just send a single keystroke to the phone. But in this case, as long as you do volume up or volume down, volume increment, volume decrement, it will click the shutter. So you can see if, oh, where'd the phone go? Let me put this, I'm going to set this right here and flip that around at the ceiling. And now you can see, click, click, click. I also had added some code to this that I'm not showing here of just doing some NeoPixel stuff. So you can see when this first starts up, it looks for a Bluetooth connection. When it gets one, the lights go out, and I'm flashing each time we take a photo. And so that is how you can use a Circuit Playground Bluefruit as a remote camera shutter inside of CircuitPython. And that is your CircuitPython Parsec. Really nice suggestion from Sam J. Ohio over in the Discord, which is you could add a loop to that and set a delay to do some stop motion. Yeah, so if you want to build a more complicated intervalometer, this would work great for that. You could use, we've got all these touch pads so you can have different UI stuff going on. We have the switch on here. This would work with any of our Bluefruit devices, but this one's pretty nice for the type of I/O it has built in. Also has battery, so we can run it remotely. Yeah, so you could set it up so you could say, hey, I want to, as soon as I press the button, take a picture every 10 seconds until you get to 100 or until I tell you to stop, that sort of thing. Great idea. Question we just got over in the YouTube from EMAC YouTube 2, which is what was the coupon code. There it is, AstroChart, ASTROCHART, AstroChart. And that's good for 10% off in the store. If you want to go grab some of those Circuit Playground Bluefruits, go for it. Let's see, what's next? I wanted to take a look at something really neat that Phil Terone just worked on and pointed out to me. I'm going to head back to the browser here and step to the side here. This blog post right here, actually, okay, let me move some camera things around. Hold on. I'm going to put me back there, and I'm going to make this window a bit bigger. So this, by the way, how long has Chrome had this split view? I feel like I've ignored it for a decade, but I finally used it the other day, and it's really great for certain things like this, where if you've got something open and you say, hey, open, instead of a new tab, open in a split view, either the right or left side. It's a convenient way to put two browser windows next to each other. So this post here on the left, we recreated Steve Jobs' 1975 Atari horoscope program, and you can run it. So check out this blog post. Apparently, there was an auction recently of some of Steve Jobs' effects, including a set of notes on creating a star chart to do a horoscope program called All One Farm Design. That was the invoice blank that it was on. And so if you take a look here, this was when Steve was working at Atari, apparently. And he has a whole bunch of notes about the formula to do an astrological chart based on the date and your birthday, I believe. So PT and Lemore and some LLMs worked on putting together a version of this inside of BASIC so that we can run it. I don't think this ever got written, actually properly written and put out there. So check out the blog post. That's the title of it there, Recreated Steve Jobs' Atari Horoscope Program. Oh, you can only see half of it. I'm sorry, I didn't send you the change I made to the screen. My apologies. Thanks for letting me know. So here you can see the blog post on the left. This is an Atari, I'm sorry, an Apple emulator that I really like over here, skullandsteel.com Apple II. And all I did was I loaded up a ProDOS disk, so you can you can head to this window here and pick different disks to run. So I'm running ProDOS, and then I simply went down in here and copied and pasted the code. Here's a nice raw version of that, astrochart.txt. You could load this as put this on an SD card as a floppy, and I may do that on a Fruit Jam because we have an emulator there, but I didn't have a quick and easy way to do that before the show. So instead, I just copied and pasted it into here. You can see if I do list, there's the program. A little under 2,000 lines of code in BASIC. Takes an authentic amount of time. I'm sorry, 3,000, but that's not real line numbering because it's BASIC, so there's big gaps in there. So if I take this and just hit run, we can see AstroChart, all one farm design, August 1975, planetary coordinates. There is the trig conversion and the epoch. Where are my stars? I'll press a key to enter. And then you can enter in your own position on Earth, latitude and longitude, and birthday to get your own star chart, or just go with Steve Jobs' personal one. So I'll say yes to that. It computes it. And then it tells us the position of the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, which you can then do with that as you please. And that's pretty cool, pretty neat. I don't put a lot of stock in horoscopes, but that is an interesting use of this to get these star positions, so you know where they were. Question over in the chat. Gandalf asks, will my old Apple II games on floppy disks run on the emulator? Yes and no. So this emulator here, or the emulator on the Fruit Jam, I'm pointing over there, here's a Fruit Jam. So we have an Apple emulator for this. They will both work so long as you can get that code off the floppy. So this has an SD card on it, so if you get a floppy disk to SD card conversion through your computer going, that'll work. Just have to get it onto here to be able to load it as a disk. And usually something like ProDOS, so that you can then run BASIC, will work, or if it's some floppies will run themselves. So you can look into that there. Yanisku7 says Commodore 64 is cool. Yeah, I think there's a Commodore 64 emulator on Fruit Jam. Of course, there's emulators all over the place, but those are the ones that have been on my mind. So thanks to Phil for rescuing this star chart code, and you can check out this blog post to get more details about this. All right, next up, take this thing down because it's freaking me out back there. This is, by the way, I kind of like I've had this iPhone cage for a while, and I like it, and it's fairly general purpose. So as you go through different iPhones, if you can get these types that have a thumb screw for clamping the phone in there and a little sponge, that's pretty good. That holds it well, especially if you're not doing action sports with it or whatever. This one's from Small Rig. Has a bunch of hot shoe or cold shoe attachments to it, and a bunch of threaded holes in there to connect gear to or put onto tripods and other rigs. Even has like a mini sort of cheese plate there to put more gear like batteries and things. All right, next up. What else have I got going on? Let me look at my notes here. See if there's other questions. Hey, let's take a look at, speaking of Fruit Jam stuff, I demoed this last night on the show and tell. Go back here, which is this updated guide on the NES. Oh, it's not going to be here. Actually, I'll go to the AdaBox guide and then go into game console emulators. So this Fruit Jam Nintendo Entertainment System guide, you can see here I've updated this. The title on this is now Fruit Jam Nintendo Entertainment System and Retro Jam. So in this guide, I linked the NES emulator as well as the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive emulator. And then Frank Hodemakers came up with a Game Boy and Game Boy Color emulator, and I was going to write a guide up on that, but before I had a chance, Frank put together about 6 emulators under one roof in one UF2 that you can put on the Fruit Jam. And so if you're not familiar with it, one of the benefits here is that the Fruit Jam can host USB controllers, mouse and keyboard, output good quality audio over a DAC, and output DVI video over an HDMI cable. So this is great for emulators. It's an RP2350, so there's a lot of Pico emulators out there for RP2040, RP2350, that you can add on DVI sock and a DAC and stuff. But since this stuff is all sitting right there on the Fruit Jam, it makes it very convenient for emulator stuff. And it is a lot lighter weight than something like a Raspberry Pi. Easier to just get up and running with stuff. Obviously, it's not as powerful, so there's certain emulators you won't run, or they won't run as well. But these that are working on here seem to be working really well. If you take a look at this RetroJam emulator page I added, this gives you a link to a single UF2 file, as well as a link to the metadata files. If you want to do box art and screensaver and game info, you can grab the metadata files that have been created for all of these emulators. So it'll emulate the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Game Boy Color, Sega Master System, Sega Game Gear, and Sega Mega Drive / Genesis. So all of those under one roof. And he also added a wave player. Initially, I think just so you could test the volume up down from the main menu, but now you can just run a wave file and play it. He's got a demo video there you can check out, and then here's all the details on adding that software and those files to your SD card. I want to give another quick demo of this, so I'll jump over to the workbench here and let me fire that up. So here what I've got is oh wow, I am super mysterious and dark back here. I guess I'll keep it that way. Maybe, let me turn this light on. Let's see if that sheds a little more light on it. Where'd you go? That might be a little better. Still very mysterious, but okay, so this is a small, old VGA and DVI monitor, but works great with a DVI adapter cable, so HDMI video works fine on it. No processing is necessary, just a format change of the physical plug. And here you can see I've got a Fruit Jam with a neat little case that I printed on it. Turn that on, so HDMI is running to the monitor. I don't have sound out on here, and I can't remember if I have a speaker on here or not. Let's see. Let me lift off the case. Oh, I do. Okay, so there's a speaker there, so you might be able to hear that when I enable sound. So here you can see RetroJam, then it goes to the last emulator you used. So I'm going to hit B to go back. One thing that Frank pointed out to me recently is at the bottom of these emulators that he's done, there's an indicator of what USB controller you have plugged in. And initially, a lot of these, this is the Adafruit SNES-like USB controller, a lot of these will say Manta NES. This is true of a lot of the Amazon and AliExpress USB controllers. They'll say Manta NES, and then only the A and X buttons, I think, work until you press Y, and then it changes to Manta SNES, and then it realizes that it's a 4-button controller. So here at the top, you can see I can pick Game Boy, Mega Drive, NES, and Sega Master System, as well as play music. So actually, if I play this, and I'll bring my mic a little closer to here. So I'm just playing a high-quality stereo wave file there. It's just on the little speaker. I can press the bottom button on the Fruit Jam to turn that sound on and off. And then if we go into, let's do, how about Game Boy? So here I've got Bomberman. Actually, I showed that last night. Let's go to Mega Drive. Changes the clock setting for some of these, so you'll see a lot of monitors have to figure their life out again after that. Let's play Sonic Spinball here. So sound is playing over Fruit Jam. You can also see a VU meter here. So the 5 NeoPixel LEDs built into the FruitJam will react to the sound processed internally. It's not through a microphone. And right now I'm doing scan lines. I think we can turn those on and off from the menu. I thought maybe one of the buttons would, but if we go to the start and select button at the same time, we can then go into the settings for the particular game you're running. So we can quit the game from here, turn scan lines on and off, an overlay for frame rate, turn audio on and off, frame skip on or off. I don't actually know what that does. Does that try to maintain frame rate? Speaker volume, internal speaker on off. And then you can also save those settings or go back to a default. So here I turned off scan line, so it's going to look a lot brighter over the camera running on this display, but it doesn't have some of the charm of the scan lines. And then something I showed last night on Show and Tell that's really neat is if I, let's play this a little bit. Start. Here we go. Have I started? Yes. So we'll get shut up here. And then I'm going to go to the menu and, oh, this one doesn't have save states. Sorry, some emulators do, NES does, this one doesn't. So nothing to show you here. I'll exit out of this though. I'll go Quit Game, B to go back to the other emulators. You see I hit Y there to turn that back into Mantis NES. If we are in NES, and I'll show, how about Micromages instead. So let's get through the menus, start the game. So nice and responsive. Sound sounds good. And then I'm going to pause there. Okay, save state, save load state. I'm going to go in here to slot 1, save, and then go back. Okay, keep playing. Go ahead and die. Ow. And now I can come back here. We can totally quit the game if we want. And when I launch it, I can go, hey, you know what? I don't want to go through all that again. Let's load the save state. So come in here and hit, you pick a slot. So slot 0 is occupied. And then I'll press the start button to load that state. And here we go. We're past that. So that is really nice. As I mentioned to Liz last night on Show and Tell, a lot of games from that era, really, really brutal to play without the sort of modern convenience of checkpoints and save states. So that makes a lot of them a lot more possible to get through. I really love that feature. Not sure if there's any others I'm missing out on other than let's quit the game. The different emulators on here. You can organize these in folders. All that's on the SD card. And from this menu, you can go and change overall system settings. So, for example, you can change your menu and font colors, background and font colors. So now we have a different color scheme here, and that's I believe saved with this. So until I reset that, if I go and turn this off and on, we should have, other than the opening screen, we should have those colors saved. So there we go. Yeah, there it is. RetroJam, check it out. I don't see any reason to use the standalone ones as opposed to this. I think in most or all cases, it's the same exact emulator. I think Frank said he did some work to make some of the footprints of them a little smaller so that it would all fit, but it's working great. So go check that out and go check out this Learn Guide for more info on how to get that running on your FruitJam. All right, let's see, what is next? David Essa says, now we know how you spent your youth. Yeah, Apple and consoles, Apple II and consoles. Let's see. Next up, that was the Learn Guide. Remote camera shutter. That Learn Guide project. Oh, okay. So here's a little kind of tooltip update thing I wanted to show. I can do that from here. Let me improve the lighting right here for a second. So I had been talking before the break about my precision screwdrivers and upgrading them. So here's a look at, let's see, I'll just go to the down cam. Okay, Mike is back. Thank you for the warning. I have very little warning when that happens. The battery pack, my microphone pack battery, just has 3, 2, 1, and off bars of battery health. So I just kind of, either I waste the battery a little bit and throw it away early. I know I should use rechargeables on these, but in this case, just wait for it to die and have you let me know. So I'll let everyone catch up on the chats. So these, a couple things that I'm really happy with these screwdrivers in particular, and I don't think the PB Swiss needs any extra advertisement from me, but I like these in particular. I brought some of my other ones inside, so I don't have them here to show, but one thing, a lot of my VHA brand precision socket, I have some little precision socket set. This is a Craftsman that looks just like those. They're all the same. They all are a black handle and a little red nub on the bottom. So the nice thing that PB Swiss did is if it's slotted, it has a black spinny cap on the end. If it's Phillips, it's yellow. If it's Torx, it's blue. And with their hex, which I don't have, it's purple. So I like the color coding on that. The other thing is these neat little stands. I had been looking at 3D printing some before. You may remember I was working on that little CAD session and 3D printed them. But this one of these sets, this one came with this, and I bought one spare one for some of these other drivers. Really nice little angled plastic benchtop holder, and what they have going on here is a little sort of living spring molded into the plastic. These are secure in here, but easy to grab because all you do is push them down a little bit and then out. So this little spring-loaded pushes the taper of that driver handle up into here, and so you can pop them out, use them, but you're not likely to have them just flop out on you. So that's a really clever system, I thought, and I've seen zero explanation of that being how that works. They don't have much info on these. So these are, like I said, these are the slotted, and they have a size laser engraved into the edge or somehow printed on there. I don't know how long that'll last, but I haven't seen those get worn off for people, as well as in the handle. So 1.8 by 30 millimeter is the size of that slotted. The Phillips use Phillips standards PH 00, 000, 0, and on Torx T3, T9, T whatever. So happy with those, and they're very nice high quality. So that was my follow-up on that. I gave up and bought a cooler thing than I was going to make myself. Next thing I wanted to talk about is a VESA mount stand. So this is from the 3D printing world here. So I have, oops, let's go to, yeah, let's go to that view. I have a lot of monitors, big, small. A lot of them have VESA mount, 100 millimeter wide or 75. I also have a little sample station synth thing from 1010 Music that I've just started using. Same thing, has a little VESA mount. So you can mount that on commercial stuff, but I wanted a little almost like kickstand so I could set this on the desk. And so I looked on MakerWorld, the Bamboo Labs 3D model repository, and saw this one, which looks pretty good. So this Display Lift VESA desktop, checked this out, had a lot of nice revisions to it, had a 100 sized 100 millimeter spacing. So I grabbed that one and the 75 one and sort of remixed them. The nice thing about this is the joints are locking. So you'll see this is one of the arms. This is the longer one that I'm not using, but I printed this first. This has a little locking system, so you kind of arrange it where you want, click it in, and until you lock a little nut on it, it's click, 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 click adjustable. But that means when you do tighten that nut, you're not just using friction to hold that. It's actually keyed in and locked in place. I'm sure there's some words for that I don't know. So I'm pretty happy with that stand, and I've been able to still use this, set it down on the desk like so. So you can see here, that just sets like that, but it's still pretty stable even for finger drumming on there when I'm using this. So you can take a look at that. And these are all 3D printed screws. So this loosens here, and then we can do this kind of stuff to it, lock those in place. So pretty snazzy, I thought, and I didn't end up having to buy anything, so I'm pleased with that. All right, what else? I think we're catching up to where I'm at project-wise. Last thing is, I think I'm going to, I'll do some little experiments with this and share them as I go, but I'm thinking of doing a Memento camera to MagTag e-ink display using the Game Boy dithered filter low resolution thing. So Lamore showed me a e-paper camera that someone had made and a kind of custom thing. And I thought, you know, it may be possible. So I'm going to look into this. I've been talking with Brent about it, to use Adafruit I/O to shoot an image that's already the right size and dithering up to Adafruit I/O. It'll take a JPEG. There's a project that I think Pedro did on a DIY IoT doorbell with Memento. So this is like half the project right here. This takes a photo and shoots it up to the feed. I think it uses text or something, SMS, to get it up there. I haven't looked at it closely yet. But here you can see there's Brent, there's that in action. So if we can do part 2 of that, of getting that image brought over onto the MagTag, which has also ESP32 Wi-Fi connectivity, we may be able to make a neat little camera and frame type of thing, or maybe all in one, almost like a Polaroid type of thing. So that is the next project I'm working on there. Have we covered it all? I think so. Oh, last one. Let's see. How's our time? Yeah, we got time. Okay, other thing is, Liz just sent me a Sega Master System 2 that is PAL region, and I think I'm gonna first of all just get it running on a PAL capable PVM TV that I have, but then look at modifying it to NTSC, see how that goes. So I just wanted to pop the thing open because it's fun to take a thing apart. So let's go to the bench cam over here and get to use some of these cool screwdrivers. How about that? Let me head over here and I'm going to turn on another light. I had a bunch of my studio lights out for some filming stuff. So there's an overhead here. I'm just going to reach up and grab real quick. There you go. I'll make it a little easier. And let's get this out of the way. Go right there for now. How's that? That'll work. Okay, so here is this Sega Mega Drive 2. I don't know if this was a European or a Japanese one. So if anyone does know or wants to look it up, it's a MK1631-07. It takes 10 volt, 1 amp, I think center positive from what the internet tells me. I don't have that right now, so we're not going to plug it in. And then AV out on this is one of their little DIN 9 like S-video sized connectors. It's not S-video, it's more like a keyboard and mouse connector. So that has a few different possible cables that can go in it. Here's some nice small old school controllers. Ooh, this one has a threaded insert on the D-pad. That's wild. Was that a joystick? I wonder if that had a little joystick that could go in there. I don't know anything about that. And here is one of the two connectors. So this is composite video and sound on that one there. I'm going to zoom in a bit closer for now. And then this is an RF. Where'd it go? So this is an RF adapter for the same thing, sound, or actually, yeah, that'll be RF video and audio over that. This one says PAL B. There's also PAL D, I, and M. I don't know what any of those are. What's the deal there? Mega Drive 2. So interesting. Yeah, so these are the two ways to get video out. I have some BVM and PVM CRT monitors that will deal with PAL and CCAM and other standards besides NTSC, so I'll probably try that first, possibly through an adapter. But a couple other things. I believe this might be Japan because a North America cartridge won't fit in it. And I don't think that was the case with European, but it could be. So this cartridge, just because of how the plastic is shaped, won't go in there. So if we take this apart, it will fit into there. I also don't know a lot of the history behind what's happened to this particular console, other than I saw some green painter's tape or something got mashed up and shoved into that hole. Don't know what that's about, but let's take it apart and see what's going on here. So there's at least these 3 Phillips screws in the corners here, and I suspect, let me get a magnet. I suspect one under that sticker there, probably. Liz, if you do see this later, or if you're watching now, let me know what you know about what had happened to this one. I see what looks like a user mod capacitor sitting on a piece of sticky tape or something there, but that may be a factory bodge too. I don't know. And I haven't looked into what the different mods are out there for doing the conversion. Sometimes if it's a European one, there's a better chance of getting an RGB video signal out of it, if that was a possibility. So let's lift this up here and see. Is there a screw? It looks a little suspiciously bulgy there, like maybe someone has been here before. No, it's just plastic. Huh. All right. And it could be also sometimes under the different rubber feet, there's screws. But maybe we'll be in luck and it was just those. Get a little plastic spudger for popping the case tabs. I'm growing suspicious that it might have a couple more screws I haven't found under those rubber feet. No screws there. All right. You'd think I would have looked this up online, but I have not, so we'll pretend like it's the old days when you couldn't. No obvious screws there. This is like the 32X or the CD attachment here on the side. All right, so maybe this is just clipped tabs. Oh, okay, I think it's something under that one. So maybe there's still the screw there. I think that's the challenge. I think the screw actually exists and is just covered. Let's see if we can pick out whatever. Is it clay? Yeah, it's like, whoa. Was it? It's not epoxy. I see a screw head. I wonder if someone lost a screw and used a smaller screw and tried to solve it with this goo. Doesn't smell like anything. I might be able to see a screw in there. Let me try. Yeah, I wonder if someone broke something and tried kind of gluing it back, because that's seeming... Oh, here it comes. Yeah, okay. We're in. Well, who knows what the green stuff was about, but it's just a normal screw in there. All right, there's the board. Let's see how this comes up out of the case bottom. How's this focus? I guess as sharp as that's going to get. I got a little more light on you there. There we go. I can't see the chat that well from over there, so I'm going to pull it up on the phone. There we go. Thailand release is John Nodge's research. That's awesome. Thank you. Andy Calloway thinks that was anti-tamper goo, the green stuff. They had a radio with it at every screw hole. John Nodge had a Sega remote with a threaded insert on the D-pad. Did in fact accept a short joystick. That's awesome. So yeah, vgcollect.com forums was where John saw info about this version of it. Okay, Thailand, huh? Pretty cool. Let's see. In here, let's see, any obvious board identifiers? This is MD2. And here it says SGT-2088 DIP, and this is hand painted on here, DIP, D-I-P, Roman numeral 2, maybe an H or a 4, not sure. Thankfully, every screw in here has been the same, and silver on the interior and black on the exterior. Okay, let's see. I might have to take the screws off of the cartridge slot too. Those are black. Okay. And we're out. Okay. Here's the case bottom. So let's flip this over. Yeah, all we have is this one. This definitely has some sticky adhesive, and that very well could have been a factory added capacitor there. It's got a Motorola chip as I think the main processor in here. I think a lot of these are Yamaha designed sound chips. A lot of these say TA06. So yeah, we'll dive a little more into there. There's a little Sony chip on here. Interesting. No bulging caps, that's nice. Nothing gross on there. Someone says that looks like a repair. Andy says it looks like a repair. Yeah, the double stick tape here is a little suspicious, huh? Well, that's as far as I'll go with this now. I've got a whole bunch of research to do to see what I'm trying to do with it, and I'll even just try powering it on and connecting it up once I have the right cables and things to a PAL monitor. But I'll show you the last thing is just if we take a cartridge apart. Here's my Lion King cartridge. Let's see, this is the front of the machine, so this would have gone in like that. Et voila, we have a cart in there, so it's literally, I think, just this molding in the cartridge shell that prevents that from going in normally. Or I'll take that out later. So there we go, that's the starts of that. And I'll hopefully have some time to play around with that and show you next week where that goes. All right. That's going to do it. That's what's going on in the workshop today. Last things I will mention again, you can get yourself a little discount on some stuff over in the Adafruit shop. Head on over to adafruit.com and head to the store. AstroChart is going to be your 10% off coupon code today until midnight tonight, East Coast U.S. time. All right. Hey, thanks everyone for stopping by. Thanks for your participation in the chat. It's great to be back. Great to be with you all. Have a lot of fun, and I will see you next time. I believe Scott is doing a deep dive tomorrow, so tune in for that. You can check our blog for more info or head to our Discord around the time of that. I believe that's at 2 o'clock West Coast time, 5 o'clock East Coast time, that's my guess. But go to the blog to find out more. All right, thanks everyone. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park. It's been John Park's Workshop. Bye-bye.
Bye.